All right, let's get into chapter 7 now for In the Service of Mrs. Claus. We've already read through my other stuff when I did chapter 6, so we're not going to be doing that. But we're going to try and do one chapter at a time so I can finish this story. It's getting good, right?
Choice
Let's
of
go.
Chapter 7 The King Cometh. Image. The King
Chapter
cometh.
7.
Chapter 7 The King Cometh. Image. The King Cometh.
The King cometh.
To Christmas.
All right, let's go.
Says Mrs. Claus. Together, you and Candy raise your to Christmas. Says Mrs. Claus. Together, you and Candy raise your mugs of cocoa. To Christmas. You wink at Candid, and he smiles back. 2 more days, you think. It's a somber meeting for you all, despite your blossoming relationship with Candid. Mrs. Claus herself seems thoughtful. You haven't seen her much recently. Page 2 of, well, we've made it this far, she says, but we've had to make it alone. The others of the 7 have made many promises to help. Some with conditions we have not been able to meet, and some, she says, staring at the last marshmallow melting in the cocoa, that have simply failed to follow through. She raises a finger at Candid. And you? Candid salutes Mrs. Claus. Ma'am, I'm happy to say the toy production is still at quota. The remaining toy makers are upset that their friends are leaving for Flickering Flame, and have thrown themselves into their work. And competing against Crinkle Corp's toy scientists hasn't hurt, either. Mrs. Claus smiles, and Candid curls up his toes in joy. He's in a particularly festive mood today, wearing red and white striped stockings with a green jumper and matching boots. Page 3 of Candid salutes Mrs. And you, Rosewood Unicorn, what do you have to report? Well, milady, You squirm in embarrassment. Candid looks on in sympathy. The last few months have been pretty rough, with more and more elves called on for guard duty for the list in the castle. All of this has taken hundreds of elves off the production lines and, unfortunately, the guard posts. Claus Castle is stretched thinner than it has been for centuries. You don't know which of Claus's enemies hired Glasgows to take the list, but it's benefiting all of them. Page 4. All of this has taken hundreds of elves. Maybe you can think of something, however, that you actually have been making progress on. I've been studying Flickering Flame's recruitment patterns. I've identified a few elves that I think might be vulnerable to him. I've been tracking down the suppliers for Crinkle Corp. I may have had a breakthrough. Page 5. I've been studying Flickering Flame's I've been tracking down the I've been reading some of the tracts from the Kingdom of Dreams. I believe that Fractured Quartz may have a different relationship with the Nightmare King than I expected. I've been reading some of the tracts from the Kingdom of Dreams. I believe that I've been tracking down the suppliers for Crinkle Corp. I may have had a breakthrough. I've been studying Flickering Flame's recruitment patterns. I've identified a few elves that I think might be vulnerable to him. Next, Candid looks nervous. Is it hard for him to talk about Fractured Quartz in front of you? Or is he thinking about the oath he was forced to take? You take a deep breath. In the pamphlet. You take a deep breath. In the pamphlet. They list every time the king has appeared. But it's always described as a miracle, or a chance blessing. In fact, the only recorded instance where the king's appearance was announced ahead of time was at Green Mountain. You continue. I don't think Fractured Quartz has control over the Nightmare King. Page 2 of Mrs. Claus looks intrigued. Fascinating, she says. I'll send out a few of the elves to talk to witnesses of previous sightings. Perhaps we can learn more. Well done, Rosewood. It seems like everyone is against us these days, says Candid. Mrs. Claus agrees eagerly, almost viciously. And I don't know how it will ever end. If the Nightmare King were proved a fraud, perhaps we could bring his followers to our side. If we could figure out which Fae are helping Crinkle Corp, we could put an end to their interference. But Flame, well, he won't stop seeking for power until he's conquered us or died. She stares into her cup for some time, then looks at you and candid. Page 3 of Mrs. Claus agrees eagerly. Almost, I'm very pleased with you, says Mrs. Claus. I think you've done a marvelous job this year. I can't tell you how much you mean to me, and to the whole castle. She looks at you with a proud smile, but then sighs with tiredness. I've kept us all going for so many years, but I've wondered so many times these last few months whether this would be the end. You reach over and pat her hand gently. You smile, and you mean it. It may seem hard, now, but you still intend to restore Mrs. Claus to her rightful place. Page 4. She looks at you with a proud smile. You reach over and pat her hand gently. You smile, and you mean it. It may seem hard, now, but you still intend to restore Mrs. Claus to her rightful place. That's when everything goes to pieces. Next, alarm bells begin to ring throughout the room. Mrs. Claus leaps to her feet and kicks the door open, racing towards the throne room as you and Candid struggle to keep up. Messenger elves pop up from every direction, shouting out the news. There was an explosion in the factory. 4 elves are in the infirmary. They believe it was sabotage. 3 war dragons are headed towards the castle from the Serene Vault. Page 2 of Fractured Corpses gather in the Kingdom of Dreams in the White Wastes. They're saying they're going to enter the human world. Mrs. Claus shouts, Candid, take the security team and secure the factory. Find out who's behind this. Candid leaps into action, shifting into the form of a commanding troll warrior. He salutes Claus and runs out of the room. Even Romans must take a backseat to duty. Next, button, Mrs. Claus sharply turns to you, her red cape billowing through the air. Rosewood, I'll deal with the dragons. I've slain more of their kind with my arrows than I can remember. I suspect flickering flame is behind this. She pauses as pain glimmers in her eyes at his name. She says, but I need you to stop the kingdom from entering the human world en masse. The 7 would never allow such an audacious act without our approval. Delay the kingdom until I can notify the others. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a piece of her magic-infused fruitcake, tossing it at you. Page 1 of Mrs. Claus sharply turns to you. She reaches into her pocket. Page 2 of 4. You catch it. Before you can reply, she snaps her fingers, and the castle gapes open above her like a mouth, floor after floor opening up to reveal the sky. She leaps into the air in a burst of flame, transforming into a phoenix and soaring up and out of sight. Stop an army alone? Mrs. Claus seems to have quite a bit of confidence in you, as one of her most trusted followers. You'll have to hurry to the wastes. You can feel the intense power radiating from the piece of fruitcake. This will get you there right away, but it's going to hurt, one way or another. How are you going to get there? Page 4 of 4. I can smooth talk K into teleporting me directly, but magic that intense would cost them one of their bodies. I eat the fruitcake and shift into a fully grown lightning hawk and bolt to the wastes. I can smooth talk K. I have an experimental transporter that I haven't tried yet due to energy costs. The fruitcake could power it. If it works. I eat the fruitcake and shift into a fully grown lightning. I have an experimental. Next, button. You race down the stairs to your basement lab and sweep mounds of spare parts and abandoned prototypes off of the desk, searching for your invention. Ah, there it is. A blood-red ring the size of a small bracelet, with attached wires leading to a portable gasoline generator. It's an odd mix, but your theories on combining magic with human science are still in the early stages. You unplug the generator and hook up the fruitcake chunk instead. The ring lights up like crimson floodlight, and you have to shield your eyes. Gingerly, you place it on the floor, and concentrate your thoughts on the white wastes. Page 2 of 3. The ring expands, reaching a size of a few feet. Scarlet arcs of magical energy begin to play across the surface of the ring. It must be ready. With a lump in your throat, you close your eyes and gingerly step into the ring, wishing for the best. The lightning crackles around you, and you feel a jerk in your gut as you are transported far, far away. The experience lasts a few seconds, and feels like flying. It's beautiful. Page 3 of The lightning crackles around you, and you feel a jerk in your gut as you are transported far, far away. It's a few seconds, and feels like flying. It's beautiful. You come to a halt, and open your eyes. It worked. You made it to the white wastes. The merciless heat and negative emotional bleed can't overcome the glow of success. You'll have to share your results with the Tinkers Union after this trip. Next, the white wastes are quieter than you might have expected. You climb atop a small boulder and glance around. You immediately notice two things. A plume of dust, about an hour's march away, and a Ford Fiesta with California license plates. You scoot down the boulder and move towards the Fiesta. Page 2 of You scoot down the boulder and move towards the Fiesta. Curious. What is this doing here? As you step near it, nature begins to bloom. Grass springs up around the Fiesta, then palm trees, and, at last, a full house. When you come to a stop a few dozen feet from the car, you recognize it as Carl Allen's house, the bleeder who had the cards from Crinkle Court. The truth hit your brain after a moment or two. There's an enormous rip in the worlds, and it connects directly to his house. Thunder rumbles across the wastes, and you think of the army. Running towards the rift, the world around you slowly fades as the human world replaces it. Once inside, you try to slow down, but discover that you seem to have lost corporeality as your foot slips straight through the sidewalk. Your momentum keeps you moving forward as you tumble through the walls of the house, through a foot of insulation and rat droppings, past 3 couches, finally coming to rest inside of what appears to be a plasma television. Page 3 of Once inside. Oh, hello, says a small voice. You look over your shoulder to see Carl Allen himself staring at you, hands on the TV screen. It's a bit odd that, despite being one of the most powerful human bleeders in existence, the kid still doesn't know how to put his shirt on right side out. You're an elf, aren't you? He asks, surprising you. He didn't see you last time, did he? Page 5 of 5. You're not really supposed to talk to humans this much. Claus will be happier the less you tell him. You're not really supposed to talk to humans this much. Claus will be happier the less you tell him. Yes, I am. You must be a smart kid. How did you know? Maybe. Why are you asking? Keep it neutral. It won't change either's opinion of you. Definitely not. I'm a ghost, possessing your TV. Go away. Page 5 of Definitely not. I'm a ghost, possessing your TV. Go away before I start haunting the rest of your electronics. At least Claus will be happy. Maybe. Why are you asking? Keep it new. Yes, I am. You must be a smart kid. How did you know? Maybe. Why are you asking? Maybe. Why are you asking? Keep it neutral. Definitely not. I'm a ghost, possessing your TV. Maybe. Why are you asking? Maybe. Why are you asking? Keep it neutral. It won't change either's opinion of you. Radio button, checked, 2 of 3. Next, button. You smell like cocoa and cinnamon, and the elves in my dreams smell like that. That's new. You sniff your arm. He's right. You do smell like cocoa and cinnamon. Must be the new potpourri you've been trying. You've been dreaming about elves, you ask. Yes. Those are my favorite dreams. I hate the ones about that awful green tentacle lady. Or the spiders. Interesting. But you have more important things to worry about right now. You moved to get out of the TV, only to find that, unfortunately, you are completely stuck. Your body passes through everything, leaving you floating, partially inside the wall and partially inside the television. Page interesting, Carl Allen. Who are you talking to? Says a woman from the kitchen. In the TV, Mom, answers Carl Allen, looking at you. Okay, shouts Mom as she bangs some pans. Just make sure you clean your room before dinner. Carl Allen looks back at you, peering into the TV. Page 3 of 4, in the survey. Hello? Are you still here? How did you get in there? You grit your teeth. You're generally a pleasant elf, but this situation has you out of sorts. But you need Carl Allen. He's a bleeder, after all, able to affect both worlds. A trans-dimensional vortex of unknown origin with phase shift properties brought me here. I could use some assistance in extricating myself. Thanks for asking. I found a hole in my world that led to yours. But something's wrong, and I'm stuck in your TV. You grit your teeth. You're generally a pleasant elf. Thanks for asking. I found a hole in my world that led to yours. But something's wrong, and I'm stuck in your TV. Page 4 of 4. Thanks for asking. Does it matter? Just help me out of here. Thanks for asking. I found a hole in my world that led to yours. A trans-dimensional vortex of unknown origin with phase shift properties brought me here. I could use some assistance in extricating myself. Thanks for asking. I found a hole in my world that led to yours. But something's wrong, and I'm stuck in your TV. A trans-dimensional next. Oh, says Carl Allen. Why didn't you just say so in the first place? Carl Allen looks at you carefully, then touches the glass of the TV all over. How can I help you? He asks. I can't even reach you in there. Okay, you'll definitely have to explain this to him. You say, you have a gift, Carl Allen. You may not know it, but that's why you have those dreams. You're connected to my world. Whenever you're feeling sad or happy or scared, it changes part of my world. I need you to try to use your feelings to get me out of here. Page 3 of he squishes his face on the glass and stares at you. You're kind of weird, you know. I don't think I should trust you. Why do you have a little crown? It's just how I like to look. It's comfortable. Keep it simple. Radio button checked. Elves can change their appearance. A long while back, I chose to look like this. Revealing a few secrets can't hurt. Do you have a problem with the way I look? I don't want to spill any more secrets. Page 3 of 3. Do you have a problem with the way I look? It's just how I like to look. It's comfortable. Keep it simple. Elves can change their appearance. A long while back, I chose to look like this. Revealing a few secrets can't hurt. Do you have a problem with the way I look? Elves can change their next. Do you ever regret your decision? Asks Carl Allen. Sometimes, you say. But I've done an awful lot since I chose it, and I've grown rather attached to it. Couldn't you just change it again? He asks. I suppose so, you say. But I've got bigger things to worry about right now. Well, I guess everyone has to look like something, he answers. But, I still don't trust you. Why are you here? Are you checking on me for Santa? Page 2 of 4. Actually, you say, but the screen bobbles for a bit as a tremor passes through both worlds. Your words get cut off in the jumble. What? Shouts Carl Allen. Carl Allen, please. Keep it down, shouts his mother from the kitchen. Sorry, Mom, he shouts back. I mean, sorry, Mom, he repeats in a softer voice. He turns back to you and whispers, sorry, I was gonna ask you, why are you here? Whether good or bad, it seems like Carl Allen won't stop being curious about you. You might as well answer whatever you like without worrying if it'll affect your status at work. Page 4 of 4. You had it right earlier. I'm just checking up on you ahead of the big day. Radio button, checked. 1 of 3. I'm investigating your house. It shouldn't be in my world and yours at the same time. There's an army of monsters coming. They're trying to get into your world. I want to stop them. There's an army. Next, Carl Allen draws his brows together in concern. He says, "Are the elves going to stop them?" Well, actually, it's just me for now. Radio, if you'll help us, we can definitely stop them. Not if you keep talking and leave me stuck in here. If you'll help us. Next, he jumps up and down. Yeah, I'll definitely help. Carl Allen. Stop stomping on the floor, shouts his mother from the kitchen. He rolls his eyes, but stops. Another tremor shakes the TV, rattling your bones. This conversation has gone on long enough. It's time for you to get out of here. You say, "Listen carefully, Carl Allen. You're a smart kid. We need to synchronize our emotions. Then the ISO attraction of sympathetic magic can pull me out." Page 2 of 3. What? The more strongly the two of us feel the same thing, the easier it will be to get out. If we don't match up, though, it could rip the world apart even more. He looks frightened, but he says, "Okay, elf. I'll do it." "Okay, Carl Allen," you say. "I need you to concentrate. Hard. Think of the time you were the most upset and grumpy you've ever been in your life. Feel the anger. The best tasting food you've had in your life." Page 3 of 3. The best tasting food you've had in your life. Chocolate, cupcakes, chips, ice cream, anything. The person you are most loyal to. The person you care the most about in the world. The person. Next, Carl Allen looks thoughtful for a moment. The person I'm most loyal to? He brightens. I know. Huxley. He's my dog. He's my favorite person in the entire world. I would sell my tablet to keep him alive if he was in the hospital. He tears up a bit, and the air around him ripples. You try to concentrate on your own friends and loyalties, but all you can think of is betrayal and loneliness. There's a reason that you've been more free-thinking these last few years. Look at your former friends, Flickering Flame, Glass Ghost, and the others. Have they been kind back to you? Why be loyal if it's never rewarded? Why be loyal if you'll only be betrayed? Page 2 of 4. This isn't working, you think. Carl Allen must sense it too, because his concentration increases, trying to make up for it. Suddenly, you feel an enormous ripping sensation, and are sent flying out of the TV and into the room, crashing into Carl Allen. You stagger to your feet. Looking back at the TV with Carl Allen, you realize that there is a visible hole leading to the white wastes in the screen. You and Carl Allen look at each other. "You weren't pulling hard enough," he says. "I had to do it myself." You remain silent and embarrassed. Page 4. The sound of marching feet from outside reminds you of the oncoming threat. Carl Allen, I have to go outside for a minute. I want you to promise that if you see anything strange or frightening, you'll let me know. Okay? He nods. You run out of the house, but the rift you came in from earlier is nowhere to be seen. It's just a typical Southern California house, with a tall white fence and an enormous pit in the ground. Wait, what? Wait, what? Next, you run over to the pit. Is this part of your world bleeding through? No, it's substantial and firm, and blends naturally into the environment. This pit must have been built for a purpose. What is it humans use these for? Capturing wild beasts? Storing roots and vegetables? Lairs for their treasure? No, that's it, it's a swimming pool. Or it will be, at any rate. There's a glint in the bottom of the pool, like sunlight on metal. You take a single step forward, and the pool vanishes, replaced by the white wastes. Then you take a step back, and find yourself back where you started in California. Page 2 of You found the edge of the rift. You creep back across, determined to find the kingdom of dreams and delay them at all costs. Once you're back in the Fey world, you are startled by the sound of many voices. Climbing up a small boulder, you peek out. There, to the left, is a patrol of mounted skeletons armed to the teeth. They're wearing the insignia of the Kingdom of Dreams, a rainbow-colored thistle. They must be advanced scouts, looking for the rift. If you can distract them, it will delay the main body of the army. There are only 10 or 12 of them. Page 4. I call down a Christmas snowstorm to bury the rift. Once you're back in the Fey world, I call down a Christmas snowstorm to bury the rift. There's no way the patrol can get through that. I trick them by creating an illusionary copy of the rift in the opposite direction. That should lead them away for some time. This is war, and I'm willing to fight. I pull out my latest concussion grenades. It should take weeks for them to gather their bones back together again. I trick them by creating an illusionary. I call down a Christmas snowstorm to bury the rift. Next button. You reach into your pocket to draw out a pinch of powdered diamond, then fling it far with your hand, where it glints in the burning sun. Then you form it with your wool, shaping it into the figure of a California house, a blue sky and palm trees. The diamond dust shapes itself according to your wool, hovers in the air, and then, unexpectedly, falls flat to the ground. You look at your fingers. It seems like chalk dust from your study has gotten mixed in with your diamond dust. Oops. Page 2 of It attracted the skeletons, though, if only for a few seconds. One of them, you suddenly feel nauseous. It attracted the skeletons, though, if only for a few seconds. One of them splits off, likely to report to fractured quartz. You suddenly feel nauseous, and you almost pass out. Something unimaginable blots out the sky for a moment. Fear and terror roll from it in palpable waves. And then, it's gone. The Nightmare King, he's here, and not here, somehow slipping between dimensions, leaving destruction in his wake. And the Kingdom of Dreams must be marching somewhere behind. You only pray that you can delay them long enough. Hopefully, Mrs. Claus and Candide have dealt with their own problems and are sending reinforcements. Page 4. There is a creaking sound below you. Looking down, you notice that half of the rock you've been standing on is gone, swallowed by a new rift. The ground is pockmarked with them, little bits of the human world floating around your own. The rock snaps, and you tumble to the ground, falling into a rift. The king disappears from view as you pop back through the rift into the human world. It takes you through Carl Allen's house's kitchen, but somehow turns sideways. You slide across the floor, knocking chairs over, and fall smack into another rift. This tosses you back into the wastes, where you roll down a slope before falling through yet another large rift. Page 4. There is a creaking sound below you. Looking down, you notice that half of the rock you've been standing on is gone, swallowed by a new rift. The ground is pockmarked with them, little bits of the human world floating around your own. The rock snaps, and you tumble to the ground, falling into a rift. The king disappears from view as you pop back through the rift into the human world. It takes you through Carl Allen's house's kitchen, but somehow turns sideways. You slide across the floor, knocking chairs over, and fall smack into another rift. This tosses you back into the wastes, where you roll down a slope before falling through yet another large rift. Next button. You come to a stop with a loud thud. You're back in the human world, in Carl Allen's bedroom. But it's not normal, for the human world. For one, the door you came in through is now on the floor, and the window is on the ceiling. Strangely, you seem to be the only thing in the room affected by the unusual gravity. Must be some kind of spatio-temporal anomaly that's affected the gravity in the region, but only in connection with magical creatures such as yourself. A new connection between gravitational forces and magic. It might gravity must be some kind. Page 2 of must be some kind of spatio-temporal anomaly that's affected the gravity in the region, but only in connection with magical creatures such as yourself. A new connection between gravitational forces and magic. It might make an interesting research topic back home. But for now, it's troublesome. Only the Nightmare King has shown this kind of power. You feel a pull in your stomach and something smacks you hard across the face. Then you push yourself to your feet and realize that the gravity has shifted again, and you've smacked face first into the bedposts. This room must be destabilizing. You've got to get out of here before it implodes. You can feel another change coming. Feels like it's gonna be a big one. It's time to get out. In the service of Mrs. You can feel another teleportation without seeing where you're going is a bit advanced for a magic trick, but I've seen Kate do it plenty of times. I could make it out if I could anchor myself. I summon candy cane pitons with thick taffy ropes to keep myself secure. I'll shift into a stormwind butterfly, adapt to the changes, and fly my way out. I'll shift into a next. The stormwind butterfly lives in the fierce nimbus clouds of the 5 peaks. Surely a bit of gravitational misdirection wouldn't be an obstacle to them. You close your eyes, picturing their majestic triple pair of iron black wings, their razor-sharp antenna and diamond-like body. You can feel yourself changing. When you open your eyes, you see a multifaceted world around you. The compound vision of the butterfly, together with the multi-directional sets of wings, proves to be the perfect combination to give you control in the room. You take a victory lap, riding out the gravitational changes, before bursting through the window with your iron-hard wings and floating to the ground below, returning to your usual shape. Page 2 of 5. You turn to see the room softly shrinking. You send calming, peaceful thoughts its way, and the change slows. The weak spot between worlds seems to be mending itself. At least you've prevented any more damage. You can hear Carl Allen's mother on the phone through the kitchen window. He's been acting weird all day. It's like he's been talking to himself, but he swears there's someone there. Like an imaginary friend. I know. I just wonder if we should see someone. But you know, things have been weird today. The stools in the kitchen fell over when I had my back turned, but Carl Allen wasn't there. And I swear I saw bones in the pool. Yeah, I wonder if there was some sort of ancient graveyard underneath the house when we built it. Anyway, the sound cuts out as she moves from the window. But a new sound is picking up. Page 3 of 5. You can hear Carl Allen's mother on the phone through the kitchen window, a low rumbling, like the approach of a thunderstorm. But the skies are clear. You look around, but it seems to be coming from all over. Page 4. In the service of Mrs., the rumbling slowly resolves into a rhythmic thumping, and your heart leaps into your throat. Despite your best efforts, the army is arriving. Everything shatters at once. A phalanx of rock trolls materializes in the pool, while an enormous oak tree pushes its way through the distortion in the upstairs bedroom, shattering the roof. You hear a scream from below, but don't have enough time to investigate. You stalled the army a bit earlier, but it clearly wasn't enough. Page 5 of 5. I'll use an illusion to disguise half of their army as elves. I have connections with every part of the Fey realm. I know exactly which of these clans and species have grudges against others. I'll use an illusion to disguise half of their army as elves. They don't know who they're messing with. I rig up a portable machine gun that fires balls of despair and go out in a blaze of glory. They don't know who they're next. Fortunately, you have a good supply of despair inside of your mind right now. You dive behind a stray juniper bush and dump out your spare parts pouch. Enlargement shells, a drive shaft, enchanted springs, and blood pistons ought to do the trick. You rig it up on wheels at the last second and leap forward, riding your makeshift machine gun like a kid riding a shopping cart, pumping it full of all your despair and fear. You round the corner in a blaze of glory, firing away. The trent is plastered with the despair-filled bullets and drops to its roots, cringing in terror. The rock trolls scramble, digging up earthworks to protect themselves. The troops behind pause in fear, and everything falls into chaos. Page 2 of 2. You rig it up on wheels at the last second and leap forward, riding your makeshift machine gun like a kid riding. You round the corner in a blaze of glory, firing away. The trunk is plastered with the despair-filled bullets and drops to its roots, cringing in terror. The rock trolls scramble, digging up earthworks to protect themselves. The troops behind pause in fear, and everything falls into chaos. Next, over the hubbub and the madness, you hear a bone-chilling voice shouting out orders. On Comet. On Cupid. On Donner. On Blitzen. You look up to see the sky full of red and white striped parachutes. The elvish cavalry has arrived, led by Mrs. Claus in her war sleigh. Her red cloak is singed at the end, and her face is set like granite. You raise your fists to the skies in triumph, and the elves shout your name. There will be songs about the last stand of Rosewood Unicorn for years, you suppose. Then you slump to the ground. Page 2 of Over the hubbub and the madness, you hear a bone-chilling voice shouting out. You raise your fists to the skies in triumph. And next, you gave the elves time to arrive. Now it's up to them to finish this. Slowly climbing to your feet, you stumble to the entrance of the house, breathing heavily. Your last effort took a lot out of you, and you don't have to fight alone anymore. Candy cane arrows pierce through the wings of papyrus dragons, and harpies battle reindeer mid-air. All at once, the sky darkens, and a hush falls over the battlefield. Everyone stops and stares directly at you. No, not at you. Behind you. You turn around and look up. Page 2 of 4. You almost feel as if you've gone blind. Something huge is there, but ever-shifting, with impossible colors. Coming down out of the sky, sprouting tentacles of shadow that form and dissolve, constantly mutating in form. The Nightmare King has arrived in all his grandeur. You're closer to it than any other fae, whether friend or foe. The distortions in space, time and mind are filling your brain with thoughts not your own, impossible thoughts, radiating from the cloud. You can feel your identity and soul being ripped to shreds, and you desperately look for something to cling on to. Page 4 of I try to hold on to memories of beauty and form. Crystal vases and spitter silk gloves. Radio button checked. I have an unbreakable heart. I think of my friends, of my duty, and of my iron will. I think of the natural world, and everything I would lose if I were gone. Sunsets, and wyvern back rides, and fresh water from mountain streams. I think of all the things that bring me joy and happiness in life, friends and fun. Page 4. I think of all the things that bring me joy and I try to hold on to memories of beauty and form. Crystal vases and spitter silk gloves. Radio button. I think of all the things that next. The oppressive darkness above you seems to extinguish every bright thought you bring forth. But you try harder and harder, thinking of games and parties, songs and lights, music and happiness. The darkness above you relents, and seems taken aback by the happiness pouring out of you. It seems to spread into the darkness, bringing joy to the Nightmare King. This isn't what you expected at all. The Nightmare King above you is motionless. For a fleeting moment, you feel as if you've come to an understanding with the ununderstandable. You feel a presence to your side, and you see Carl Allen beside you, staring up at the void. He feels it, too. Page 2 of 4. This isn't what you expected at all. Together, you look up and watch as the Nightmare King engulfs you, and you feel the presence of a mind unlike any other you've seen. You feel a rush of thoughts and feelings. Fear. An image of Mrs. Claus. Anger. Fractured quartz. The earth, from space. The Fey world from above. Confusion. It's suffocating. The Nightmare King is a being beyond anything you've seen. But, amid all the messages and memories coming into your brain, something is recognizable. Page 3 of He's a kid, isn't he? Says Carl Allen. You nod. It's true, he's a kid, isn't he? Says Carl Allen. You nod. It's true. The Nightmare King is a child, small for his kind. And he's frightened and alone. Something is wrong with him. You need to help him. I've spent the last year studying the kingdom of dreams and the Nightmare King as often as I could. I understand this creature. I know how to help. I've gained Carl Allen's trust. Together, we can soothe the beast. I can sense the other elves nearby. If they trust me enough, I can persuade them to enter the king as well. We could work together. Page 4. I can sense the... I've gained Carl Allen's... I've gained Carl... Next. Carl Allen, you say, I need you to help me. This creature is scared and alone. I need us to focus together like we tried before. Carl Allen looks at you hesitantly. He shakes his head and takes a step back. No. You came here and now there's monsters, and I'm scared. You feel an angry push from above, and you are knocked away from Carl Allen by an invisible force. You can hear Carl Allen talking with the king. He must have found a way to communicate, you think. But the king certainly doesn't seem happy with you. Not at all. Page 2 of the king pulls away from you and Carl Allen both, lifting into the air. You fall out of his inky darkness and onto the grass. The bright light of the human world almost blinds you, but you can see the armies of the Kingdom of Dreams on their knees in respect to the king, while the elves and Mrs. Claus are waiting, alert for what might happen next. The king rises further, shrinking into himself as he pulls away from these worlds. He diminishes to a small drop of inky black and disappears. Hopefully he finds others of his kind, you think. Page 3 of Carl Allen runs back into the house to find his mother. The two armies stare at each other in silence. Mrs. Claus turns to look at you. And there, in the back of the Kingdom of Dreams, you see fractured quartz trying to sneak away. The fate of both forces lies in the balance. The Kingdom of Dreams started this war. We will end it. I lead the elves against the Kingdom of Dreams. My knowledge of the king and the kingdom is enough to convince them to follow me instead of fractured quartz. I stage a takeover. Page 4. My knowledge of the king and the kingdom is enough to convince them to follow me instead of fractured quartz. Claus' castle is weak. Now, I can invite the kingdom to join and strengthen us if I can convince Mrs. Claus and fractured quartz to go along with it. The Kingdom of Dreams started this war. We will end it. I lead the elves against the Kingdom of Dreams. Next, you stand tall and amplify your voice. Citizens of the Kingdom of Dreams, you have defied the combined will of the 7 great kingdoms and have violated the boundary between the worlds. Your king has rejected your prophet and deserted you. Surrender, or be destroyed. Fractured Quartz steps forward. They look at the army around them, and at the elves, before coming to their decision. We do not accept surrender. The king is testing our faith by departing from us for a time. To arms. Fractured Quartz charges towards you, calling on their army to follow. Page 2 of Fractured Quartz steps forward. They look at the army around. Not all of the kingdom follows them, but enough to cause trouble. The ensuing battle is short and brutal. Fractured Quartz is led away in chains, and the kingdom is scattered and docile. Next button. As the day winds down, elves and the followers of the king together walk through the holes in the world back into their own. Mrs. Claus approaches you. This has been a grim day. Mrs. Claus approaches you. This has been a grim day. But I'm glad you were able to hold them off, she says. Candid was able to get the factory running again, and I have very little trouble with the dragons. It's likely that flickering flame saw our confusion and took advantage. She puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Thanks, Rosewood. I don't know what I'd do without you." She's standing very close, and you can smell interment from her hair. Page 2 of Mrs. Claus approaches you. She puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Thanks, Rosewood. I don't know what I'd do without you." I give her a hug. "I don't know what I'd do without you, milady." I take a small step away. I give her a hug. "I don't know what I'd do without." I don't know. Next, you grin at each other. Claus grips your hand for a moment and says, "Then we'll just have to support each other." You grin at each other. Claus grips your hand for a moment and says, "Then we'll just have to support each other, won't we?" The two of you look at the house together. The entire thing has been crushed, and swirling portals riddle the nearby landscape. "What are we going to do about this place?" you ask Mrs. Claus. It's going to be hard to keep this secret from the humans. The neighbors have probably been recording everything. Or, at the mention of the neighbors, a door opens in the side of the house closest to you. Out walks a tall, dark-eyed woman wearing a black suit. She seems unfazed by the presence of you, Mrs. Claus, or the gaping portals to another world. "I couldn't help but overhear you," she says. "Yes, it's true that you've been recorded. But the general public won't know. We've been taking care of the situation. Consider it a gift from Crinkle Corp. We'll clean up here." Out of the corner of your eye, you notice a long convoy of black vans coming down the road. Mrs. Claus frowns. "And what if we decline your assistance?" Page 4 of 4. She hands a small business card to Mrs. Claus. "My employer, Mr. Leonre, would be interested in discussing the matter with you in person. Here's his card. I hope to see you soon." She turns and walks back towards the house. Over her shoulder, she says, as she enters, "I suggest you to go, now. The process we'll be using here is hazardous for those of your particular nature." Mrs. Claus looks at you, and the convoy, and at the card in her hand. She turns and strides towards the portal, and you follow her back to the Fey world. Page 4. She hands a small business card. She turns and walks back towards the house. Over her shoulder, she says, as she enters, "I suggest you to go, now. The process we'll be using here is hazardous for those of your particular nature." Mrs. Claus looks at you, and the convoy, and at the card in her hand. She turns and strides towards the portal, and you follow her back to the Fey world. Next button. That night you have the strangest dreams. It feels far more real than usual. You're walking down a constantly shifting corridor whose colors defy names. A hooded figure walks near you. "My son is free, now. He's afraid of you, but I am happy with you. I did not know he had come to your worlds." The figure gestures, and you see the walls of the corridor shift and change, showing visions of the previous day, Carl Allenham the King. "My son is free, now. He's afraid of you, but I am happy with you. I did not know he had come to your worlds." The figure gestures, and you see the walls of the corridor shift and change, showing visions of the previous day, Carl Allenham the King. "I've seen you all in his memories. Fractured quartz who desired power. Mrs. Claus who desired freedom from all influences. But you, what do you desire? Perhaps I can be of use to you. Tell me, in what way would you wish to be stronger?" Page 3 of 3. I wish to have greater ability to change my form. I wish to be more stealthy and subtle. I wish to have greater Christmas magic. I wish to be more skilled with devices. I wish to have greater connections to friends and allies. Page 3 of 3. I wish to have greater connections to friends and allies. I wish to be more skilled with devices. I wish to have greater Christmas magic. I wish to be more stealthy and subtle. I wish to have greater ability to change my form. I wish to be more skilled with devices. I wish to have greater connections to friends and allies. I wish to have greater Christmas magic. I wish to have greater... Next, but it is done. Thank you for revealing more of your true self. But I see more in your heart. Tell me, is there someone you love? I did not... Flickering flame. It is done. Thank you for revealing more of your true self. But I see more in your heart. Tell me, is there someone you love? I did not have the power to change minds, but I can draw you two together, allow you to explore your feelings for each other. Flickering flame. Candid mistletoe. Mrs. Claus. I am a friend to everyone. Candid mistletoe. Next button. You love one who is like Christmas himself, pure and full of laughter. This explains much about you. This I can do for you. When you wake, go to the stables and you'll find Candid. Good luck, and thanks again, elf. The figure fades, and you wake up. The memory of the dream begins to disappear almost immediately, but you remember one thing: go to the stables. It's early and cold. You eat a quick meal, Bundle up and head outside. Page 2 of 3. You find Candid not by the reindeer, like you expected, but by the frost wolves. Candid is dressed in high, waterproof leather boots and a woolen tunic. His hair hangs in heavy curls adorned by holly berries and leaves. Oh, Rosewood, I didn't expect you to be up. Candid says, holding a bucket of water in one hand, a stiff brush in the other. The frost wolves don't like it, but today's their bath day, and I could use some help. Come on. He hands you the brush and leads you to a partially filled tub at the back of the room where he dumps in the rest of the water. He looks up at you and smiles. Page 3. Oh, Rosewood, I didn't expect, so do you do this a lot? Radio button checked. 1 of. How do you keep the wolves from fighting back? You're always thinking about others. I like that about you. So do you do this a lot? How do you keep the wolves from fighting back? You're all next. Candid smiles and says, well, I think about some more than others, if you catch my drift. He puts a hand on your shoulder. Here, he adds, I'll get Skull first. He's the wild. He disappears. Here, he adds, I'll get Skull first. He's the wildest of the bunch. Then we can dig arm. He disappears for a moment before returning with possibly the largest frost wolf you have ever seen, easily larger than the two of you combined. When he sees the tub, he immediately starts growling and lets off a howl that shakes the entire stables. He turns and tries to run away. Page 2 of 2. Oh no, you don't, shouts Candid. He leaps onto the wolf's back and starts riding it like a bronco. I tried to lure Skull over to the tub with the promise of food. I grab Skull head on and wrestle him over to the tub. I'll stay behind and try to herd Skull in the right direction. I try to lure Skull. Next, you pull out a leftover turkey leg from breakfast. You weren't hungry enough to finish it. Here, Skull. Here, boy. You whistle and pat your leg, waving the leg. Your plan works unfortunately well. Skull bounds forward, putting the whole leg in your hand into his mouth. You manage to let go in time, but it's close. Then you and Candid get to scrubbing. Candid is gentle but thorough, taking each part and washing it gently. Soon Skull is done, and he flees with water trailing behind him. Then it's Scarm's turn, then the next. Page 3. In the service of Mrs. By the end of the day, the two of you are covered in grime and dog fur. Candid's holly is fallen out, and the tub is filthy, but the job is done. By the end of the day, the two of you are covered in grime and dog fur. Candid's holly is fallen out, and the tub is filthy, but the job is done. Thanks, Rosewood. You know, that's what I like most about you. You help others more than you help yourself. Candid stands very close to you and looks at you hopefully. I give him a kiss. Radio button checked. 1 of. I pull back a bit. I had fun, but don't want more than that right now. I embrace Candid. Page 3 of 3. I embrace Candid. I pull back a bit. I give him a kiss. Next, he runs his fingers through your hair. I ought to give you a wash, he says, then blushes. The bells begin to ring outside, signaling the start of the official day. Candid says, I have to go. I'm supervising the complaints department today. I'll see you later, okay? You return to your room smiling and wash off all the hair and sweat in a bath while you think of Candid. It seems today was your lucky day after all. Page 2 of 2. You return to your room smiling and wash. Next chapter. Chapter 8. Enter the Beast. Image. Chapter 8. Enter the Beast. Image. Wash. Ness says. Voiceover off.